will be endless.
Distasteful! Loathsome!
This nightmare may finally end. I'm faster!
needs an intervention, Nomad. You have proved your might. You have proved your ignorance.
Fury of the cosmos!
A real challenge. Finally put my hand.
Why run? What's the point?
Not all day.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of my build guide, and this video will showcase the high budget version of the Carrion Golem CI aurastacker. Make sure you farm out a lot of currency before you attempt this build because it is more expensive than the medium budget version, okay? And I will be only going through the important stuff, as you can always see the rest of the key core items in the POE. I don't really want to waste so much time going through that. And for the last part of the video, I will just do a simple Q&A session that most players always ask me very frequently, all of the commonly known questions. Okay, so a rough overview of the build. In terms of map clear, I will rate this as S because of the increase in damage. There is a lot more increase in damage, and it actually clears decently fast. I mean, of course, not as fast as your Race Spectre Syndicate operatives, but it's just good enough and fast enough, and it's not like Turtle or Tortoise style where it just goes very slowly, okay? And as for single target DPS, this is definitely one of the best out there. This build is just, Carrion Golems are just a beast in single target. Yeah, it can delete everything in just a matter of seconds, okay? Survivability wise is also, I will label it as SS because we are stacking auras. We have a lot of defensive layers. And yeah, based on the stats of level 95, this is how it roughly looks like. We have about 4.5 energy shield to 22,000 evasion rating. So that gives us 88% evasion chance. This is really a lot. Okay, I have never hit so high before. I think if you invest more in the gears and armors and rare items, you can probably hit 95%. And for armor, we are only getting 11k, so that gives us 72% physical damage reduction. And the block chance and attack dodge chance is not really important, it's actually quite low. But if you activate Vow, Haste and Grace, you will hit the max cap of 75% for attack, dodge, and spell chance. For our resistance, we will be only hitting 87%, not 90%, because I'm not going for the 300% aura increase effect. I don't really think that's worth it. And as for our Carrion Golem, we will be hitting 10 million DPS per Carrion Golem. So 4 Carrion Golem will mean about 40 million DPS. Okay, that's a huge increase based on our previous medium budget build. And for the Carrion Golem life stats, you can actually see that we have insane amount of regeneration on the Carrion Golem now. About, I would say, estimated 20%. Okay, with 33k life, regenerating at about 6.5k HP per second is really crazy a lot. We will be running 13 auras this time instead of 14 auras from the medium budget build. And what we will be removing will be clarity, so we will not be running clarity anymore. And the 13 auras, so first will be precision, then dread banner, purity of ice, purity of fire, purity of lightning, vitality, and then with haste, grace, discipline, pride, determination, flesh and stone, and aspect of the avian. Okay, next will be the mana related notables. This is to run all of your 13 auras. Please pay very close attention to this because many players have actually asked me like why I cannot run all 13 auras. You are missing stuff here and there. Okay, so first on your passive skill tree, you need to take sovereignty, influence, leadership, and by that I mean all of the smaller nodes as well. So for you will need an intuitive leap over here with the jewel socket. And then this is where you will be able to take charisma and the reduced reservation, the small passive over here. Okay, so for number 7, you will need 3 jewels with 1% reduced reservation of skills, implicit corrupted. So the cheapest will probably be like Primordial Harmony, Conqueror's Efficiency, and Ghastly Eye Jewel. It works as long as you have 3 of any of the jewels with 1% reduced reservation of skills, it's fine. And however, for the best damage, we will still use Primordial Harmony, Primordial Eminence, and Conqueror's Efficiency. Okay, so for this round, we will be using 6 specific passives from the medium cluster jewels. First will be Sublime Form, then Uncompromising, Pure Might, Pure Aptitude, Self-Control, and Pure Will. Okay, number 9, we will need the Sakawal's Nest with 10% reduced reservation of skills. It has to be 10, okay? And then the attribute probably try to get 60 plus and above. Okay, number 10, you will need a Rare Hunter plus Redeemer Amulet. So this is for the 5% reduced reservation of skills. I have underlined it over here. And you will need the Anoint Champion of the Cause, which gives you 4% reduced mana reserve. Okay, number 11, we will need a Rare Redeemer Influence Helmet with reduced reservation of skills and flesh and stone enchantment. So we will no longer be using the Alpha's Howl because it doesn't give energy shield, and this is much more important as compared to Alpha's Howl. Okay, so this is how the passive tree will roughly look like. We'll be using 3 large cluster jewel in the high budget with 6 medium cluster jewel. And I will be only doing 2 tabs for this. One is for level 95 and one is for level 100 because we are in high budget, and I assume that you are high level enough to reach this. Okay, so the minimum I will say will be level 95. If you are lower level than that, I will suggest you can just remove one cluster and proceed with the build with without using a few of the auras first. Okay, so the difference between 95 and 100 will be just taking all the smaller passive nodes from your medium cluster jewels. You can see over here all the small ones. The level 95 doesn't have them, so at level 100 you can just take all the smaller nodes over here. Okay, and for your skill gems, I've actually separated 2 of them for your main skill. So one is Carrion Golem and the other one is your Red Spectre Syndicate Operatives. I know some of you out there actually want to play Red Spectre SO instead of Carrion Golems, and it is actually workable, just that Carrion Golem has more bossing damage and Syndicate Operatives has more map clear performance. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about your Carrion Golem. So on the Carrion Golem, we are still going to remain the same, just that all of the other gems is the awakened version now and all default. For your Red Spectre, I will suggest getting an anomalous one so that it has more life, and then we will still need life tap on your Spectre. Okay, so just one thing to take note for the skill gems over here, this is your glove. You cannot link the convocation, you cannot make a 4 link on your glove. So it has to be a 3 link and a 1 socket that is not linked to it. Otherwise, you cannot use your convocation because you will link it to life tap and you will not have enough life to use it because we are going CI and we only have 1 HP. Okay, the next one will be your 3 link on your wand. So this is your first aura. You will need to have Precision with Divergent, Dread Banner with Divergent, and Awaken Generosity. Okay, the second 3 link, you will have Purity of Ice. Just get the default version, but you will need level 21 so that you can have a higher max resistance. So if you see, if I were to put a level 20, you will have 85. But if I have a level 21, it will be 87. Okay, so that's the difference. So for the zombie support, I have chosen to do this. You have Maim Anomalous for the increased effect. Raise Zombie, you can just get at level 20 if you want, default version so that you have more life. And then Feeding Frenzy, just use the default version. Flesh and Stone, I will use the anomalous version for the increased evasion and armor. So why do this setup is because Flesh and Stone will have the Maim link to it. And this is so that your Flesh and Stone will always have the main effect, but also your Raise Zombie will also have the Maim support. So in certain scenarios where you fight bosses, you actually need to keep a distance from them and you will not be actually applying Maim onto your boss with the Flesh and Stone because you're out of range. So this also allows the zombie to apply Maim and it will increase the damage taken for the boss. Okay, so the next aura will be your Falling. Pride, get the Divergent Pride. Next, Determination, Divergent. So there are actually alternatives to this. I will explain later in the question and answer section. Valhaste, you don't need the Divergent one, sorry. This is just the default. And then for your auras, on your ring, so both is within sec, just put the Val Discipline and Divergent Vitality onto your rings. And the rest are all just passives from either your Ascendancy, items, and stuff like that. For the items, in your weapon, you're going to use a Convoking Wand with a +1 level or spell skill gem, +1 to all minion skill gem. Auras from your skill grant 2% increased damage. And then you will just multi-mod, or if you can find it on the market, just have this mods, which is minions deal increased damage and increased attack speed. Okay, I will show later in the Q&A section how you can craft it, but I will just advise to just buy it all from the market. Okay, next will be the helmet. Just get a ready-made helmet with double energy shield modifier and the 5% reduced reservation of skills. Of course, with the Flesh and Stone enchantment if you can, otherwise just do labs yourself until you get it. For the body armor, we're still going to use the Sakawa's Nest. Make sure you have at least 10% reduced reservation of skills and at least 60 to all attribute. for this, we're going to use Breath Stealer same, and this is very important. You cannot change this because you will allocate Golem Commander on this, which is over here, because we will not be linking our skill over there. So this will give us +1 to the maximum number of summon golems. And then boots, I'm still going to use with Doyani's Delusion, because finding a rare boots is really very hard, and this gives like one of the best out there with 30% movement speed and quite a huge number of energy shield, flat energy shield. So for our amulet, we're going to be using a Hunter and Redeemer amulet, and that will be for the 5% reduced reservation of skills and +1 to level of all intelligence skill gems. Of course, you're going to allocate a champion of the cause. So why the turquoise amulet is because we already have enough strength, and I just want to pump dex and intelligence into the main stats of the build for the evasion and extra energy shield. Okay, so I will show you later on how you can craft this amulet. And for our rings, just go with the double Vivinsect. Of course, search for dexterity and intelligence. And then the belt, we're going to use a Stygian Vice this time, and this will be a Crusader item so that we have more energy shield on it. And of course, if can, try and find one with an open suffix so you can craft level 20 aspect of the avian on it. And we have a Abyssal socket, right? So for the Ghastly Eye Jewel, just search for one that has energy shield and increase minion damage when you use a minion skill recently, or you can even find one that has increased minion physical damage. That works too. Okay, so next for our flask, we're just going to use Granite Flask with the increased armor effect and Jade Flask with the increased evasion effect. So Quartz Flask can really be anything for your suffix. For mine, I actually use increased movement speed. And then you're going to need a Bottle of Fate or Elixir of the Unbroken. Okay, so next up for the jewels, this is going to be slightly different. For now, I will be using Primordial Harmony with 1% RRS. And then Primordial Eminence, Fortress Covenant, Primordial Eminence again, and another Primordial Eminence. So total there will be 4 Primordial Eminence. Okay, we will not be using Primordial Might anymore. And for the Watcher's Eye, I'm just going to go ahead with the energy shield affected by Discipline and increased chance to evade attacks while affected by Grace. Okay, next will be Intuitive Leap, the usual stuff, Anima Stone, and your 1% Conqueror's reduced reservation of skills on your Conqueror's efficiency, and the 4th Primordial Eminence. So I will not be running Primordial Might this time because I don't feel it's actually very important. You will want the extra attack speed and cast speed for your golems, and also the armors that you can stack on your golems. Okay, something to take note on this item build. As you can see, my Breath Stealer is actually corrupted with cursed enemies with vulnerability on hit with 48%. Please take note, you do not need to corrupt your Breath Stealer. This modifier here is for the Animate Guardian so that you can take effect and see how much is the overall DPS. And for the Animate Guardian stack, I actually put on the Granite Flask, so you can see I have highlighted in green the Kingmaker and the Lear Cast. This is what it actually gives to the to your minions around it. Okay, so for your Animate Guardian, this is the basic standard setup. I don't think there is any other fanciful setup that you should use because this actually gives you a lot more damage, and your Animate Guardian by itself is actually already self-sustaining. So you don't need to use the Stitch Demon Helmet and ES regen increase or whatsoever. It's not really needed. This is just very basic, is good enough, and is very easy to understand. Okay, so like I mentioned, know that in the POB, Breath Stealer should not be corrupted, and the corruption with vulnerability is just to show the AG curse on hit that is applied to the enemy. Okay, and another thing to mention for here is that for your gloves, you don't need to have this Search Binder glove. You can just search for any gloves with curse on hit vulnerability 48%. It works just fine. For the supporting spectres, we will have 4 of them. So first, you're going to take the Carnage Chieftain at X7. This will give you frenzy charges. then Host Chieftain also at X7, which gives you power charges, and then you'll take a Day of 2, which actually provides Snow Cloak for the additional attack and spell dodge chance. It's a vortex that will be casted on the floor, and any of your allies that stand inside the vortex, you will gain that additional buff. As you can see here, you have this buff that is on your top of your screen. Okay, so the last spectre I would take will be Arena Master. So this can be found at Jog's Portal. It actually provides a around 3-second buff that grants 40% movement speed and attack speed. So it does not have 100% uptime, but this is a very powerful buff that can give you a short burst of damage against bosses. So when the bosses spawn, right, the Arena Master will actually give you this buff, and it grants you 40% increased attack speed. So that's a lot of DPS boost for the time being. And also, if you are unable to find these spectres or have problem finding it, you can always join my Discord and request for the spectres. Okay, on to the question and answer session. First, how much does this build cost on an average? I will say estimated about 150 exhausts, really depending on which reduced reservation skill jewels you are getting. And also it is much cheaper if you are transiting from the medium budget to the high budget, because there are actually quite a few items that you should have already and you do not need to repurchase them. Okay, second question, how do you prioritize the buy list? This is very simple, okay? So based on this list, you are going to purchase your Convoking Wands first. So you can always switch Cold Iron Point out for it, as it gives a lot more damage as well as survivability. Remember that the wands give you +1 to all spell skill gems, okay? And then next, try to keep your currency to buy the cluster jewels second, because the cluster jewels can actually be quite rare, because we need +4 or +5 intelligence on it for the additional energy shield. And especially the medium cluster jewels, because it's actually quite rare on the market. There are actually 0 on the market sometimes, and for some of them I've actually been searching for some days, like even 1 week. Okay, next will be the equipments and jewels. There's really no order in which you get them, and I would suggest purchase the skill gems last, because you can always use the previous medium budget version of the skill gems. If not, just get a level 20 with 20 quality skill gem for the time being. Okay, next question, how can I get the Convoking Wands? Should I craft or buy it from the market? I will highly recommend you to buy it straight off from the market. It costs about 20x to 30x around there. And then if the multi-mod modifier is wrong, do remember you can always craft them yourself again. The important ones are just the +1 spell skill gem, +1 minion skill gem, and the aura modifier. Okay, otherwise you can craft it yourself. I will show you now. Okay, so this is how you are going to craft the Convoking Wand if you would like to try. So first, let me just get a Convoking Wand first. And you don't want it to have any influence, okay? Just remember that. Go. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna use fossil crafting, and then you're gonna use first corroded so that you do not have any elements. Jagged so that you have no chaos, and metallic so that you have no physical and bleed. And then last will be shuddering so that you have no mana. Okay, and then just keep using it until you hit the +1 to spell skill gem and +1 to minion gem. Okay, here, so you can see that I've actually done it already, but the problem here is you actually might get a prefix that is not wanted. And what you can do with this is from here onwards is actually a lot of RNG. You're gonna Orb of Annulment it and try to remove the first one. Okay, so as you can see, I've failed. Okay, so actually I've actually got it. I've actually removed the prefix. And what you're gonna do now, right, is you are going to remove the suffix. So you need to bench craft prefix cannot be changed. Okay. So once you have benchcraft this, use the orb of scouring and then remove the suffix, and then you're left with these two. Okay. And then now it's a lot on RNG. What you're gonna do is you first benchcraft can have up to 3 crafted modifiers. Okay, so you will have up to 3 crafted modifiers, and then you are going to craft minion damage on it. So minion damage, and you're gonna craft the highest tier, of course. So let's say you have this, and then next, right, you are going to craft minion attack speed on it. Okay, so there's 2 things you can actually do here. One is you just craft minion attack speed. Let's just say this. And then what you're gonna do, right, is you are going to Redimir Exalt it. Redimir Exalt Slam it. What you are trying to actually hit is this mod over here. Okay, is this mod over here. Auras from your skill grant 2% increased damage to you and allies. Okay, so because there are a lot, right, if you were to just Exalt Slam it, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 1 out of 7 chance of getting it, and actually the weight is quite low, so it's a little bit of RNG here. You can just try and go for it, no harm. Okay, so you just Redimir Exalt Slam it and hope for the best. So even whatever you get, right, it doesn't matter because it is still a bonus. Okay, this is a bonus. However, if you want to try to get a better mod, what I would do is I will craft cannot roll caster modifier. Okay, you cannot roll caster modifier because with this, right, you are actually removing 3 of these mods from here, which means you will only roll either this onslaught mod, inflict cold exposure, your aura modifier, and hatred has additional modifier. So you technically remove 3 of the useless modifiers from the pool. Okay, so there you go. But the downside is once you have actually Redimir or Exalt Slam it, sorry, you will have to redo the multi-mod again because you don't want to have this custom modifier. So let's say if I do this and then I get it, I will need to remove all the multi-mod because you will not be able to change the benchcraft if you have a multi-mod. Okay, so you will need to redo all over again, and it costs about 2 exalts. So yeah, this is actually quite hard to do, and I would suggest just buying the wand straight off from market. And what you want to buy from the market straight off is just these 3 modifiers. So I'm removing this, and where is that? Give me a moment, and then I'll remove this as well. So what you want to buy from the market, right, is just these 3 modifiers. Okay, this is the best. And then you want to just multi-mod it yourself. Okay, so multi-mod. And then I'll have this. Minions have attack speed, and minions have attack damage. And this will be your final product for your wand. Okay, so it doesn't matter if the market sells this, but a different multi-mod crafting, because you can always change the multi-mod anytime with your benchcraft. So yeah, this 3 is the most important modifier in your wand. Otherwise, you can make do without this Redimir aura modifier. Okay, next question. Can I change the Carrion Golem to other minion skills instead? Yes, you can. So the other alternatives is Syndicate Operatives. I've shown you in the POB, you can actually change them, just that Syndicate Operatives has a lesser bossing damage, but it has very powerful clear speed, while Carrion Golem has very powerful bossing but lesser clear speed. So it's a give and take situation. You need to just see which one you prefer. Okay, so for Syndicate Operative, these are the stuff that you need to change. You need to change the jewels to 1 Unending Hunger and 1 Quickening Covenant. And also change the Breath Stealer anointment to Grave Pact. I think Grave Pact is probably one of the better ones. And for the skill gems, like I mentioned, you need to see POB for the changes. So if you want to play summon skeletons like the mages, you need to change the jewels to Dead Reckoning and Quickening Covenant. And you need to change Breath Stealer anointment to Grave Pact or Lord of the Dead. Okay. You also have to change the skill gems yourself because I did not really test this. I don't really know how it works, but I know it is doable. So remember to change the auras also, like the Bloodstains Flesh and Stone will not work. Pride and Dread Banner will also not benefit for it, so you need to play around with it. Like maybe the auras for Pride you can change to Zealotry, Dread Banner you can change to other of the banners, the one that gives you more evasion and armor. Okay, next question. How do I craft the amulet? I will show you right now. Okay, so this is how you should craft the amulet. One of them needs to be turquoise amulet. You can use other amulets, but turquoise I think is the best in slot because dexterity gives you evasion and intelligence gives you energy shield. Okay, so I wouldn't recommend a simplex amulet because you might need to Orb of Annulment the prefix to benchcraft energy shield later on, and simplex amulet actually only has 2 prefix and 2 suffix, and there's a very high chance that you get 4 modifiers and your Orb of Annulment may annul away the modifiers that you need. Okay, so that's why I don't use a simplex amulet. And yeah, like I mentioned, for the Redemir amulet, you need to have the reduced reservation of skills. You can see that there is the suffix modifier of redemption. So this is the only Redemir modifier you need to have on the amulet. Okay, only 1 line of Redemir modifier. And same for the Hunter amulet, you only need to have 1 line of the Hunter's modifier, which is +1 to level of all intelligence skill gems. If you have more than 1 line of Hunter modifier, this will not work. Okay, it will be totally RNG. Okay, so once you have gotten both the amulet, you need an Awakeness Orb also, and you can read over here, right? So it says right click this item, then left click the item you wish to take the influence from, and then left click an item of the same item class you wish to apply it to. Okay, and so basically, right, after you right click, you're gonna left click the amulet that is not your original base, which means that it's not the turquoise amulet. So this one first, because this is not the turquoise amulet. Okay, and then you left click, and then you're gonna left click your amulet that you want it to have the base, so which is the turquoise amulet. And once I press, you see, I will get both of them together and it is turquoise amulet. And this is very nice because I have a, oh actually I do not have a prefix slot, so I will actually need to Orb of Annulment it. So yeah, anyway, this is how you are supposed to craft the amulet. And once you have a prefix slot, you will just bench craft energy shield. Let me just find it. Yeah, it's over here. Okay, so for my case, sadly I'll need to Orb of Annulment and try to get rid of one of them. Okay, next question. Can I try to craft the large or medium cluster jewels? I would suggest highly not to because there's a lot of RNG involved, and yeah, it's very hard to hit the most accurate or perfect modifier. So I would just advise to buy on the market and be patient because I know some of them don't really exist in the market, but all of us on Discord actually managed to get it. You just need patience and you need to find it on the market. Okay, so like some of the medium cluster jewels, I also actually waited for a week. And yeah, like I mentioned, there are actually lots of people on my Discord that is still sniping for them as well. So you need to be patient. Next question, can I change the utility flask? Yes, of course you can change them. But I would suggest the only thing you should change is the Elixir of the Unbroken Circle to probably Taste of Hate if you would like that. Otherwise, the rest should remain the same because they are your kind of like bread and butter of what makes you very tanky. Okay, next question, what enchantments should I use on the flask? This is really personal preference, but I will show you what I'm currently using. Okay, so for flask enchantments, right, this is what I'm using. I will use when charges reach full, and I also will use when an adjacent flask is used. So one of them definitely needs to be used when charges reach full. I will recommend using it on those that consumes very little charges, so that they can reach the cap of the charges very fast, and once they consume, all the adjacent flasks will automatically be used. And that also means that you don't have to piano your flask when you are mapping or going through packs of mobs, but I do piano them when I'm fighting my boss, because your flask will definitely not be automatically activated when you fight boss. So yeah, that's how I enchant my flask. Okay, I am not able to run all 13 auras due to mana problems. What is missing? Guys, I've already shown you all the important nodes you need in the front slide. So if you are still facing any problems, right, just come over to the Discord and I will help you see what is actually the main issue or the problem. Okay, next question. Can this build do reflect maps or Azeri? Yes, of course it can. So you will need the following. You will need Sibyll's Lemon on your right wing slot. Please remember this is on your right wing slot, because you and your minions take 80% reduced reflected physical damage. I have people coming to me asking why their minions still die even after using this, because clearly they put it on the left wing slot, which reduce reflected elemental damage. So you need to be very careful with this. And the other thing you need to take is your Pantheon, which is the Soul of Yugul, where it gives you and your minions 25% reduced reflected damage or reflected damage. So you need to take these two, and for your right wing slot, I suggest you can just give up Vitality for the time being and just use this if you are facing some reflect issues. Okay, so I've completed the build. How else can I improve it? The only way of improving it I would suggest is just to get reduced reservation of skills, corrupted implicit on your jewels, and once you have that, you can actually change your medium cluster jewels to both passive that has replenishing presence and first among equal. So you need to get the perfect one with intelligence as well, and I think this is the only way you can actually further improve it. Okay, next question. The budget is over my expectation. Are there anything I can change? Of course you can. Even I myself do not use the full spectrum of this build because it's just too expensive. Okay, so these are things you can change. I also am using these changes. First, Awaken Multi-Strike, you can change it to 2120, the default Multi-Strike. So you save about 20x here, or even more than that. I'm not sure, just estimating. Next will be the Divergent Determination to 2120 default determination. So Divergent Determination is actually quite expensive. And then next you can change Reduce Reservation of Skill Eminence to the Harmony type. And the Harmony ones cost about 100 or 1 exalt, 100 chaos or 1 exalt, while the Eminence costs about 10 exalts. So you save quite a lot over here. And the next one will be Bottle Fate. You can change it to Taste of Hate and you will save a lot of currency, but I really suggest not to, because Bottle Fate is actually really very strong, as it generates the Consecrated Ground, which gives you regeneration for all your minions, as well as the enemies take a lot more damage. Okay, so then again, reducing all these items also mean reducing in your overall damage performance. So it really depends on what you are aiming for. Okay, so what modifiers should I get on the watches? I would suggest first, definitely you need the regenerate ES per second while affected by discipline. And second, I will recommend either the increased evasion while affected by grace, or if not, the increased physical damage reduction while affected by determination. So the 3 modifier watcher size is actually too much and too expensive. I don't think it's necessary. So unless you have the currency, then you can go for the 3 mod, unless 2 would work just fine. Okay, next question. This is very common. how do I craft aspect of the avian and where can I craft it? So first of all, you will need you can craft it on any rare item that has an open suffix slot. So basically either your helmet, your belt, or your amulet. It needs to have an open suffix slot. So make sure you check that first. So yeah, step 1, you purchase Sakawal's nest. Sakawal first of the sky. And then step 2, you just go to your Minagari and activate this first of the sky. And then step 3, you need to make sure that you have 3 other rare monsters or beasts that is actually eye level 70 and above. You can go to the arena cage there and have a look. And then step 4, you need to select to craft aspect of the avian in the cage with the rare item in the slot. So this is how it looks like. And then just activate, kill the boss, and it's done. It will be crafted onto your rare item. Okay guys, that comes to the end of my build guide. Hope I've covered everything that is important here. Also, if there are still any questions or help you need, do come over to the Discord or ask me, or ask the players over there. We are actually all very nice people and we don't bite. So overall, I've been playing this build for about 2 to 3 days now, and I've only died once due to a genius mistake of standing in Cyrus Storm. Like, yes, I was actually trying to see if I can tank Cyrus Storm, so I tried walking into it with all flask on and I died in like 2 seconds. So didn't really expect that. Cyrus Storm is still really very strong. Other than that, your minions or even you yourself will hardly die. You can even run through pack of mobs, no problem, and nothing will happen. Of course, please do not just try and stand in boss mechanics like Shaper Beam or outside of your the mechanics or whatsoever. You will not be able to tank it. Like even the Maven Beams or something like that, it is not possible. Okay, once again, thank you for watching. Do remember to hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.